class, we'll be taking up our first topic, India enters UNSC and what lies ahead. Okay, so as you know, we are launching this new series. One second. Yes, am I audible and visible to everyone? Yeah, I think it's better. So hello everyone, welcome to Gradeup, and this marks the launch of a new series, a daily news series where we'll be focusing on the state of international affairs. So basically, I'll be taking up the most important contemporary affairs of international relations nature, and I'll be extrapolating it with the India's role and how it's important for our UPSC examinations. Okay. So as you people know, there is a growing role of international affairs or, the international organizations, both in our prelims and mains examinations. In prelims, we are seeing roughly every year around 5 to 6 questions. And in mains, there are almost 6 to 7 questions, either directly or indirectly. Even if you have seen today's essay paper, if somebody has seen today's essay paper, there was a direct question from international affairs, the role of technology in the international relations. Okay, this was asked in the essay paper today. I hope you know. I hope somebody has seen the essay paper of today. So as I was saying, it has its role in prelims, come mains, and definitely there is one essay asked in the last 4 to 5 years on IR. And of course, if your optional is political science and international relations, you have an entire paper too, where there is directly or indirectly linked to the international relations. And the nature of this class or the scope of this class is to cover all of them. Okay. At least from these classes, at least until your mains, you should be getting all the questions of prelims and all the questions of mains, and of course an essay. It should be fruitful from this session. Okay, and it sounds quite preposterous or very high flown words, but it's actually, I mean, that should be true, because international relations are the most dynamic. Okay, if there are something from current affairs which have the major role, it is your international affairs. And since we'll be taking up dedicatedly the most important international affair of the day and we'll have a comprehensive discussion about it, I'm sure that, I really hope that this should be an exhaustive course. Okay, good evening everyone. So let's begin today's class. So initially, I just wanted to know, anybody of you with an optional political science and international relations? Any one of you with PSIR optional? Anyone? Okay, Chandraspriya has history optional. Nobody from PSIR? Anyway, there'll be a recording of this class also, so I hope people from PSIR can also watch it. I just wanted one help. If you can give the, of course, there is a different answer writing style for the GS and PSIR. I myself had PSIR optional, so I know it quite well. But I just want to know that if the scope of this class is sufficient for the PSIR, or you want me to teach a bit more high level. Okay, but broadly, the main audience for today's class are, of course, our GS students. Okay, our beloved GS students from Gradeup, our Gradeup family are the main audience for this class. Okay. Yes, Rachel, I was just saying about the role of international affairs in the general studies and UPSC examination. And for somebody who has not seen, today there was an essay question, the role of technology in international relations. Okay, something related to it. The last essay from today was on this. So basically you had to write about the fourth industrial revolution, or actually all the industrial revolutions, and how the role of data is growing. Okay, or how medical technology or educational technology or automobile technology, how all of them are playing a role in the soft power and the hard power. That was an essay topic. Okay, it was a core international relations topic which they had asked in the GS essay. right? Fine. So since this is the first class, I'll just explain you how things work. I'll be giving you the topic, of course, and I'll be giving you why is it in news, and then we'll be taking up the background of it, and towards end of it will be, let me just list down actually, since it'll be better. We'll be seeing why in news, then we'll see the background of it, the comprehensive background, all you have to know, all you need to know regarding the topic we'll be seeing. Then we'll be seeing the analytical issue-based analysis, okay, the whole pro, against, or conclusion and all sort of thing. And then most importantly, we'll have a answer writing session. Okay, we'll have a mains answer writing, and if time permits, we'll also solve some prelims MCQs. All of them in this session. Okay? Yes, Shraddha Raikwar, this is the first class. Of course, Chandrasprabha, very valid point you have made. Okay. So there will be an answer writing, and I'll give you the link for our Telegram group towards the end of the class. You can actually upload your answers on that group, and I'll be giving you the feedback also for the answers you have written. Okay. Fine. So why is this topic in news? For people, for the uninitiated, for people who are not aware of it, India has been elected as the non-permanent member of UNSC. Okay, when did this happen? This happened roughly in June 2020. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi had also tweeted, okay, because of the Twitter Samvad and Twitter diplomacy, had tweeted that we have got overwhelming support, because almost 184 out of the 192 countries which have voted in favor of India, okay, for the non-permanent membership. And from Jan 1st, India has actually taken the formal seat, and India's tricolor has been installed at the UNSC. Okay, and there is a 2-year tenure of India. Taranam Sabha, it is at 9 o'clock, the current affairs class. Okay, and more in news, because today itself, this is from today's paper, India has actually been asked to chair, it has become the chairman of 3 important UNSC committees. This we'll discuss towards the end of the class. And of course, yesterday again UNSC was in news, because India has advocated for a permanent UNSC seat, not only for us, but for the African continent. Okay, we'll see about this also. Right? All of these we'll see, so that you'll have a comprehensive understanding of UNSC and the reforms which are required for UNSC. So what exactly is UNSC? It is one of the 6 principal organs of the United Nations. As you know, there are 6 organs. There are the UNGA. You can briefly list them. We have the UNGA. Then we have the UNSC. Then we have the ICJ. Right? Then we have the ICJ. Then we have the UN Secretariat. Right? And we have, of course, the UN Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC. And we have the Trusteeship Council. All right. The Trusteeship Council is now redundant. What is Trusteeship Council? Basically, it involved the countries which had not got independence, which were still in the colonial era. And in 1994, actually, a country called as Palau, not the pulao you eat, the Palau country, it had got its independence. So right now, there are no countries under Trusteeship Council. It is more or less redundant. Okay. Another class and some other class where we'll discuss the structure of UN. I'll be telling you about all of them in detail. So UNSC is one of the 6 principal organs, and it is something like your executive. It is like the executive, like how in your country you have executive, legislature, and the judiciary. In that way, UNSC is something like the executive, right? So it is responsible for maintenance of international peace and security, and it achieves this by investigating any dispute or international friction. Like for example, during the Kuwait wars, UNSC was prominently in news, or it played a prominent role in diffusing the tensions between Iraq and Kuwait. But of course, it couldn't diffuse. That's why US had to interfere also, and the whole thing happened. But even now, even if there is a Libyan crisis or even the Afghanistan crisis, so the issues, especially in the Middle East, and the African development, and for all of them, UNSC is the main executive body, right? And it has 15 members, okay? 5 are permanent and 10 are non-permanent, right? And India has been elected as a non-permanent member, okay? Now, these 5, United States, United Kingdom, France, Russia, and China are the permanent, and 10 among 10, half are elected and half are elected every year. So this year, I mean in 2019, after the election, along with India, 4 more countries have come. Okay, Ireland, Mexico, Norway. So roughly, if you see the composition of the UNSC presently, these are the countries. Okay, Estonia, India, Ireland, Kenya, Mexico, and so on. Okay, and you can see Estonia, for example, Estonia, Niger, Tunisia, they were elected last year itself. So they entered the UNSC in 2019. So they'll finish their tenure by 2021, and India will finish the tenure by 2022. Okay. These are the 5 permanent members. Can somebody tell me these 5 permanent members? They are regarded as the non-nuclear weapon states. Under which treaty? Can somebody tell me the name of the treaty? What is the name of the treaty in which these 5 members are held as nuclear weapon states? India and Pakistan or Israel or North Korea, even though they have nuclear weapons, they are not held as nuclear weapon states. Yes, very good, Krishan Kumar Singh, under CTBT, but even before that, under the NPT, the Non-Proliferation Treaty also, it holds only these 5 countries are the nuclear weapon states. Okay, yes, correct, Rashi Sharma. Alright, we'll discuss that some other time when we discuss NPT and CTBT, we'll have a discussion on that. So why is UNSC very important? We have seen it as an executive body, and it is the only body among the 6 which can make binding decisions. Okay, if it's a substantive motion is the one which actually carries weight. The basic definition, it carries weight. It is not to do with the basic procedural things like, it can impose an international sanction, or it can there can be a motion against maybe war in some area. It is not about procedural matters about conduct of UNGA sessions, or conduct of basic vaccination for COVID-19. So in the substantive motions especially, UNSC can make a binding decision. So that means it can tell a country that you have to stop doing this. For example, it can tell Iran for stop enriching its uranium, or else sanctions can be done on that. Okay, so it is the only one which can make binding decisions. And as I told, it can make decisions on procedural and substantive matters. For procedural matters, it requires 9 out of 15 votes, and for substantive, again it requires 9 out of 15, and it shouldn't have a veto. Okay, there should be absence of negative vote. Okay, so that means even if 14 countries vote, and say maybe one country like Russia or China has given a veto, still that substantive motion will not pass. Okay, and this has happened many times. Does anybody know which country has exerted the maximum number of vetoes in UNSC? Anybody has any clue? Shraddha Raikwar, it's a very good question. I'll be discussing that. Okay, I'll tell you that. How the P5 were actually divided. Actually, it was all of this, all the UN and all, it's a criticism of the UNSC. That all of this are like vestigial of the World War II era. Okay, the P5 countries, if you see, mainly they are the victors of the World War II, other than China, of course. Though China also was part of your allied team, they are the victors of the P5, and it has remained fossilized like that. Okay, there is no proper criteria for it. Okay, very good, Rashi Sharma. Russia, not China. I thought many people would say China, but Russia is the country which has exerted the maximum number of vetoes in UNSC. Okay. Other than that, UNSC includes critical functions like it can recommend new members to UN, it can recommend the General Assembly, the appointment of Secretary General, and it can elect the judges for ICJ. These are the procedural matters which are involved. Okay, and I don't know if you should know in this much depth, but is this clear? Let me just expand this image. broadly, they follow this sort of informal weightage. Okay, this is visible. There is this sort of informal weightage for the non-permanent members. Permanent members are fossilized, they are fixed. Among non-permanent members, from Africa there are 3, from Asia there are 2, then from Latin America 2 should come, and Western Europe 2, and Eastern Europe 1. Okay, if you actually compare these, they follow in that pattern. Okay, but it's better if you remember this, because as we are seeing, prelims is becoming extremely dynamic and difficult. So you can broadly just remember this. 3, I mean, only Africa is 3, all others are 2, and Eastern Europe is 1. Okay, and I think you can observe there is no Arab country here. For Arab, there is no weightage in this informal agreement. So Arab generally gets 1 seat from Africa or Asia. From this 3 or 2, it gets 1 seat, Arab. Alright. So just broadly remember this. This many books also don't cover this at this depth. Okay. So now let us see the analytical part, the analytical discussion of UNSC, as somebody had asked, as somebody had asked, right? Yes, Shraddha Raikwar had asked on which basis the membership is decided. It is basically an anachronistic criteria. So basically, the P5 countries which you are seeing, they are the victors of the World War II. Okay, except China. China was not a major direct victor, but these were part of your allied team. Okay, so they have taken the permanent 5 basis on themselves. And presently the world over, this, I mean, it is not in tune with the World War II realities, because presently we have many economic and geographical superpowers, like we have Japan. I mean, even if you don't consider India, we have Japan, we have Germany, we have Brazil, and also of course India. Okay, and these are not part of P5. So there is an inequitable distribution, and of course it's undemocratic. Okay, if Russia is, let's take the example of China itself. If China is having this incursions into the South China Sea, and if it evolves into a huge conflict, in that scenario, if UNSC has to take a substantive motion and all the 14 countries go against China, China just by 1 veto vote, it can drop that substantive motion. Okay, so it is undemocratic. And there is no representation of these powers, and actually these 4, Japan, Germany, India, Brazil, does anybody know the name of this grouping? Japan, Germany, India, Brazil, there is a specific term for that. Does anybody know that? What are these 4 countries? Very simple. I mean, if you know, it should be very simple. Yes, very good, Chandraspriya. They are the G4 countries. And they are the most voracious critiques of this UNSC framework, and they want the UNSC reforms. Similarly, if you see the regional distribution, that is also unfair. For example, you see there are, I mean, for the non-permanent seats, there are 50 Asia-Pacific countries, 55 Asia-Pacific countries actually, and they have how many seats? They have just 2 seats. Okay. Similarly, there are 30 European and other groups, but they have 2 seats. So even in the non-permanent members, there is a lot of discrepancies. And if you see the P5 countries, they are not very responsible powers. They are involved in a number of conflicts. Russia is involved in the Libyan conflict. China is involved in South China Sea. It has standoffs with India. US, okay, I don't know where to begin with US. It has had several, in the name of democracy, it has taken up several interventions. And if what is going on US capital, if you see, I don't know if you can call it a responsible superpower. So the P5 countries are involved in a number of conflicts, and they are not acting very responsibly. And one of the most crucial aspect of our UNSC reforms is the Africa group. Okay, the African group, basically it consists of 55 countries, and they demand 2 permanent seats. Okay, 2 permanent seats and roughly 5 non-permanent seats they demand. Okay, this is called as the Ezulvini Declaration. Okay, Ezulvini Declaration, in that they ask 2 plus 2. 2 permanent and, sorry, 2 plus 5, 2 permanent and 5 non-permanent seats they ask, Africa asks. And if somebody wants to know, there is another declaration, CIRTE declaration. Okay, CIRTE declaration, that is also by Africa group. There they ask for 2 plus 2. They ask 2 permanent seats and 2 non-permanent seats. I mean, extra 2 non-permanent seats. Now presently they have, if you are saying they have 3, they need 2 more, right? So they have such declarations also. This can be asked in the prelims. Azul-Veni declaration is related to what? Okay. And in support to the Azul-Veni declaration, yesterday basically, our Foreign Secretary, Mr. Harshvardhan Shringla, he had told that UN focuses almost 75% work in Africa and there is no permanent membership. Okay. And if you see the African continent as such, there are a lot of conflicts. Okay, there are a lot of fragile states. Many countries are extremely backward. If you see the SDG goals, there is a widespread poverty, hunger, unemployment, and extreme inequalities in the people of Africa. So there should be a permanent membership for Africa, and that is supported by India. Yesterday we have supported. Okay, and we have also told that, you know, African countries are focusing on a debt crisis. We have not specially named China, but we are saying that there is a debt crisis also with countries like China, right? So we are supporting the African Union membership. And can anybody tell me why are we doing this? I mean, we can ask for ourselves, right? Why are we saying that we want Africa to come to UNSC? Does anybody know? Any reason, the secret behind this? Why India is acting in this way? Just hypothetically, just give me a reason. If anybody is PSAR student also, you can give me a reason. Chandraspriya, no, if we support Africa, how will we get permanent membership? Okay, the main reason is, if you see India's foreign policy talks very loudly on the north-south divide. Okay, and it is one of the most generous foreign policy. Okay, even from the Gujarat Doctrine, if you see, or India's foreign policy, if you see, it's a term of very generosity flows very highly in the India's foreign policy. So we don't look at only our India's interests. Of course, India's interests are the paramount, but even if you see the world over, we have a broad south sort of homogeneity. So if there's a problem in Brazil, if there's a problem in Africa, if there's a problem in India, okay, or the southern part of the continent in the north-south, India tries to stand behind it. Okay, so as part of that north-south divide, we are having it. Is there a mic issue? Okay, I think the audio is fine. Okay, that was about the current affairs. And if there is a question about India's role in UNSC, some facts you need to know, that why is India demanding a more permanent role? It is the largest contributor to UN PKF. Okay, UN peacekeeping force. Like UN has some army under it, where, you know, they are called as the white hats also. They are the army, but they won't directly attack, but they'll help to keep the peace. Okay, I know it is a weird concept, but we have a peacekeeping force, and India contributes the average maximum manpower. And we have been elected 8 times now. Okay, previously 7 times, and now 8 times we are elected. We are the largest democracy in the world. China, of course, is larger than this, but we don't see it as a democracy. And it is one of the top 10 world economies, and it is the third in terms of PPP. The purchasing power parity, if you see, India GDP ranks third. And India is a nuclear weapon state. Though officially the NPT or CTBT don't recognize India as nuclear weapon state, but we are a nuclear weapon state, right? We have conducted the Pokhran 1 and Pokhran 2 tests. And to know more about the nuclear weapon state, yesterday I took a class at 8 p.m. about the India's nuclear doctrine. You can see that. And India's bid is actually backed by most P5 nations. Okay, most except which country? Why is there some unusual sound? Let me just listen also. Unusual sound. Yes, very good, Rashi Sharma, except China. I was just about to say that. And you can see it. China is not behind us. It is opposite to us. Right? So those are the China is one major impediment. And other than that, there are more impediments. Like to add some country to P5, I mean to the permanent, we need at least 2/3 of UN member states and all the P5 members of UNSC enjoying the veto right. These are the conditions according to the UN Charter to add one more country to the permanent membership. Okay, and of course China is blocking our entry. Next, there is something called as intergovernmental negotiations. Okay, these are the informal negotiations which are taking place, for the UNSC reforms. Next, there is something called as intergovernmental negotiations. Okay, but these have been going since last 10 years. And these are extremely informal in nature. Okay, that's why India is wanting a written sort of consensus. Instead of this informal discussions, we want an IGN which would be in writing. Okay, similarly, there is opposition from the Coffee Club. Okay, these are the UFC countries like Pakistan, Italy, Mexico, and Egypt. These are called as the Coffee Club countries. Now, these countries, they don't want to get into permanent membership, but they want to block the countries which are asking for it. Okay, so they don't want to progress, like, the frogs in a well, they don't want to progress, and they don't want the rival countries also to progress. Okay, for example, Pakistan is blocking India. Similarly, Argentina also is there. Argentina is blocking Brazil. Italy and other countries are blocking Germany. So they're blocking the G4 countries. And if you see India's economic contribution, it is very minimal. If you compare it to US or if you compare it to UK contributions to the UNSC, India's contributions economically is quite low. So these are the impediments which are blocking us. And other than that, even if you see India's soft power or India's power policy, we focus more on the soft power. And the countries in the P5 category, they are more of the hard power, okay, which are aggressive military stance. Okay, for example, India has a no first use policy, but the P5 countries, they may not regard of the no first use. So generally the hard power countries are the ones which are P5. All right. So those are the impediments. So what do we do out of this? What is the way out from this, from UNSC? There are different viewpoints. Okay, there are various viewpoints, but you can quote this towards the end of the answer. Our External Affairs Minister, S. Jaishankar, immediately after India was elected to the UNSC, he had given out a document. Especially people from PSI are optional, you should be quoting this. He had given out reformed multilateralism to reflect contemporary realities. So, of course, he had told that India has sought a term for the Security Council and permanent membership, that's always there. But even if you don't give us a permanent membership, we would be still responsible, we would be still looking for responsible and inclusive solutions like concrete and result-oriented action against international terrorism. Okay, for peace and security. Okay, then technology with a human touch. This was asked, something related to it was asked in today's essay paper, right? So these aspects, India would be focusing on it. Okay, this is our present stand. Like always, over many years, over many decades, India has been asking for permanent seat, or at least UN reforms and so on. But presently, we are looking more at, okay, fine, these countries, China is blocking us. And even the other countries, they are only giving lip service. They're only saying that we will support, but nobody is actually supporting. So instead of fighting for UNSC membership, we should have a more pragmatic approach. Okay, we should have a more realpolitik. Okay, we should have a more realpolitik. Like he's also a thinker, Bhupinder Singh. He's a foreign policy analyst. He has told that it is not the only way where we can show our global center stage. We can instead, we can focus on multilateralism. We can focus on bilateral relations. We can focus on our quad. Okay, regional structure. Okay, UNSC reforms, if they'll happen, only India cannot do it. We need all the countries, we need a lot of consensus. So focus on the other areas. You can end on this way. All right. And of course, for prelims, another thing has happened in the current affairs. Yesterday, actually, just 10 hours before this class. Okay. So yesterday in in USA yesterday, India has become the chairman for 3 subsidiary bodies. Okay, the Taliban Sanctions Committee, Counter-Terrorism Committee, and Libya Sanctions Committee. Please remember these 3, they can be asked in prelims. Taliban, Counter-Terrorism, and your Libya. Okay, you can actually hear the words of Mr. Trimurthy. He's the permanent representative of India to the United Nations. It's a small video. He's telling you what is the importance of these committees. Can you hear the audio? Committees. Can you hear the audio? Audio is not audible. Committees. Can you hear the audio? Audio is not audible. There's some issue with the audio. Can you hear the audio? Audio is not audible. Okay, fine. I'll just leave a Twitter link. You can just go and watch the video after class. I'll just see tomorrow what is the problem, okay? One second. Yeah, you can see this video after the class. Okay, basically he's focusing on the importance of India's chairmanship of these committees. For example, if you see the Taliban Sanctions Committee, okay, it is the 1998 Sanctions Committee. That is very important, mainly because India is the major victim of terrorism, right? And India will be chairing the Counter-Terrorism Committee. That is the 75th anniversary of India's independence. Similarly, the Libya Sanctions Committee, it is the 1970 Sanctions Committee. So it is focusing on the asset freeze, travel ban, illicit export of petroleum, and so on. Okay, from Libya. You can actually see this video after the class. Okay, but anyway, you don't have to remember what are the functions of these committee. Just remember the names of these 3. They can be asked in prelims exam. All right. Okay. So that's it, friends. That's the end of today's class. So this is a model mains question for you. So you can write this for 12.5 marks in 200 words. Okay. So like presently we have 10 marks and 15 marks in the UPSC mains pattern. But in 2015, they only had 20 questions of 12.5 marks each. Okay. So roughly it should cover 2 pages if you're writing. If you begin here, okay, it should cover until here, depending on the size of your handwriting. Okay, you can write it. And we have our Telegram group. Let me also post the link of that. You can submit it. I mean, you can post your answers on Telegram group. There can be a peer discussion, or even I can help you out with, I'll be giving you the feedback for the answers you're writing. Okay. So for people who haven't joined, please join this group. Okay. I mean, it's a Telegram group because on Telegram you can send media easily, and we can have a proper discussion also. Okay, please join the group and you can submit your answers there. Fine. Okay, thank you so much, Priya, and thank you so much people who have attended this class. And for people who are not part of our Gradeup Super subscription, I hope you're aware we have a Gradeup Super where we have different courses, and our flagship course is the IAS 2021. Okay, where we'll have a comprehensive classes from the prelims come mains, and you'll be getting access to 350 plus live classes and 325 plus PDFs and 5,000 practice questions. There are classes for Yojana, Yearbook, Kurukshetra, and CSAT also included as part of this. And there are mock tests, 30 mock tests for prelims and around 12 mock tests for your mains. And apart from the IAS 2021, we also have courses for EPFO and courses for the NCRT. Okay, for the absolute beginner, there are courses for NCRT also. If grasping the IAS course is difficult for you, NCRT course will help you. Okay, and I hope you're aware of our faculty. We come on the free classes. So we have had a lot of experience in teaching, and we have given the multiple mains and interviews also, right? And these are the costs of the courses. You can get in touch with our counselors if you're looking to enroll. And apart from this, we also have the daily free classes on the Gradeup app. Like we have the daily editorial analysis at 12, EPFO class at 5, special 5 lectures, GS for IAS, and the daily current affairs. And like for example, from today, we have launched 2 more courses. We have launched the daily economic analysis at 11 a.m. and this state of international affairs, daily IR. Okay, at 6 p.m. This will be taken, like this class would be taken Monday to Friday. Okay, so if you like the class, the Telegram group, is it not visible here? You can see the Telegram group, Satya Silambarasi. I have posted it. You can join the group and you can post your answers. Okay, so thank you so much. You have been a great audience and great students. And if you like the class, please leave a good feedback. I'll meet you again on Monday, same time, 6 p.m. Okay, we'll be discussing another topic, probably from the US Capitol issue. Okay, what exactly is happening in America, we'll try to understand. All right, bye, all the best, and a happy weekend for all of you. See you on Monday. Bye.